Yo, you already know who it is. King Fortune, we back in this bitch. Once again for the madness. So in this particular video, I'm going to be discussing ignorance of the law. It's no excuse. Now, for anyone who has ever been to court, we know that you don't get off because you didn't know if something was legal or illegal. You can't say that you didn't know. That's not going to get you off, because they're going to counter you with ignorance of the law is no excuse. So, to bring this point home, I'm going to be using a couple of tools here. Y'all see I have tools of divination all on this desk. I'm going to be using these tools of divination to drive this point home. So because we are on the 12th day, this is the 12th day of January. It may be the 13th day if you're overseas somewhere in China or Japan. You may be in the future. But for most of us, this is the 12th day. So if we were to look at 120 lessons, and we will look at the 12 degrees in each of these lessons. Let's see what the degrees say. Right, which I have to my left over here. So let's see what this says. If we were to look at the 12th degree, what does it say? Let me bring it a little closer here. Here we go. It says, why doesn't the devil teach that? Answer, because he desires to make slaves out of all that he can, so that he can rob them and live in luxury. That's the 12th degree. Now, what is this talking about? What this is talking about is, when it's asking, why doesn't the devil teach that? What it's saying is, why doesn't the devil teach you the true law? Why does the devil lie? Why do we live in a society that is constantly lying to you, but benefiting off of the lie? There are those who benefit off of your ignorance, my ignorance, anyone else's ignorance. There are always those who benefit off the ignorance of the people, which is why they say ignorance of the law is no excuse. Why? Because they already know that you may not know. Most likely you don't know. 85 to 90% of the population does not know the law. So they will fall victim to the law at some point. And because they are not aware of the law, they position themselves to benefit whenever you lose, whenever you fail, whenever I fail, whenever anyone fails. They are already in position to benefit off of your failure, off of your ignorance. Because ignorance can mean not aware, but ignorance could also mean you are ignoring the obvious. Either you are not aware of the obvious or you are ignoring the obvious. So when it says, why doesn't the devil teach that? Because he desires to make slaves out of all that he can, so he can rob them and live in luxury. Is that not what's going on? Because most of us are unaware of the law. There are people in positions of power who live in luxury off of our ignorance, because they already know you don't know, because they don't teach you that. Again, there is no school to go to learn the law. There's no institutions. You can't learn the law other than personal experience. You have to learn it from within. You have to be guided to the law because it's already within you. It's written in your DNA. But they make you other than your own self. Let's go to the further. Let's go to another 12th degree, right? That's not all. Because remember, this is 120 lessons in total. But let's go to another 12th degree. What does it say? Show you right now. Go to a different section. Now, what does it say? You see number 12? It says, yes, sir. That makes him other than his own self. All right? So this is a question of 36 questions and answers. Well, a conversation between two people. So the 12th degree is, yes, sir, that makes him other than his own self. What makes him other than his own self? Ignorance of the law. Ignorance of the law makes him other than his own self. And when he becomes other than his own self or her own self, they fall victim to the law and they benefit the devil, the oppressors. You benefit them, but they put you in the environment in terms of they made you ignorant of the law. That's the true manipulation. Again, it's not that these people know anything we don't know or are doing things we don't know how to do. They know the law and they make sure you don't know the law, but they can never hide it from you because it was placed within you. They can't take it away from you, but you have to be open to your intuition. You have to be open to your Akashic records to know what the law is. And because most of us are what? Most of us are other than our own selves. Then again, they position themselves to benefit off of you being other than your own self, which is righteous, which means to be in accordance with the truth. But let's go to another 12th degree. What does it say? If we look at the 12 jewels, what is the 12th jewel? Happiness, right? The 12th jewel is happiness. Most people are not happy, and we see it. You can step outside your house right now. Look for a smile. Let's see if you find it. If it's not, coming from kids playing, look at the fucking adults. There's no happiness in their face. You don't have to talk to them. Because again, people lie. So you can ask a person, hey, are you happy with your life? Of course they're going to say, yeah, they don't want to, but if you look at them, their body language, their facial expressions are going to tell a different story. Because they don't have happiness. Why? Because they're outside the law, or they think they're outside of the law. Happiness is unattainable. No, happiness is obtainable, but it appears to be unattainable because of the situation we are in. Why? Because we are other than our own selves. We are outside of who and what we are created to be. And that's what makes it appear to be unattainable, because we are outside of our natural element. So they benefit off of us being outside of our natural element because they taught you that way. And because most people were, again, whatever they was taught in school, whatever they was taught in college, whatever they've been taught at the fucking job, that's their law. Their law is whatever they've been taught from the oppressor. That's their fucking law. Their law is not in accordance with the universe, so they don't benefit from those supreme mathematics, from those supreme lessons, right? Happiness is attachment to the spiritual. Happiness has nothing to do with attachment. You are free of attachments. Attachments lead to destruction. You can't be attached to something that is freeing you. You can't be attached to freedom, because freedom is to be free. Happiness is to be free. Happiness has nothing to do with being attached to anything spiritual or non-physical, because you understand that all things are one thing. It's the same thing. But let's take this a step further. Supreme mathematics. Because everybody be asking where you get, what are your sources? I'm showing you motherfuckers. What is the 12th degree? Love, hell, or right. Love, hell, or right means either you are in accordance with the universal law or you're not. So either you will be in hell or you will be righteous. But it's the same law. So the same law that gives you hell, it's the same law that gives you righteousness. Is it not the case? Either you are in tune with it or you are not. But let's take it a step further. So I have this book here. And the book is not important. I just grabbed the book. I just want to turn to a random page. This was just the closest book at hand. So if we turn to a random page, let's just read the first thing. Here we go. What does it say? Let's read this paragraph. The greatest leaders in history all inevitably learned by experience the following lesson. It is much better to be feared and respected than to be loved. All right? It's a random page. Why is fear stronger than love? Because fear is rooted in ignorance. So all of these so-called greatest leaders, fuck them, but all of these so-called greatest leaders put fear in their people, not love in their people. They put fear in their people because the people start to fear the leaders and not the law. And we wonder why civilizations keep falling and why the governments keep getting overthrown and why the people who are in positions of power, they can't agree. Just like now with the government shutdown, Republicans can't agree with Democrats, so ain't shit getting done. But the people who are fearful, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna get my check, I don't know, it's people who are afraid. Because the power is being held in people's hands who's supposed to be elected to take care of the people. Instead, they have their own personal agendas. So most people are fearful of what may happen next instead of being in a loving state of mind, being in accordance with the law. Let's take it a step further. Let's just open up a random page in the Bible. Let's see what the Bible got to say. Let's do a random page. Okay, just open it up. Let's just take it to the camera. What does it say? I'm just gonna, whatever I can read. We'll just start here. It shall come to pass when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, and when you hear the sound of the trumpet, that all the people shall shout with a great shout. Then the wall of the city will fall down. What does it say? I'll read the rest of it. The wall of the city will fall down flat, and the people shall go up, every man before him. Every man. Okay, let me just read this over, because I don't want to misquote. It shall come to pass when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, and when you hear the sound of the trumpet, that all the people shall shout with a great shout. Then the wall of the city will fall down flat, and the people shall go up, every man straight before him. So we see, just turning to a random page, it's talking about that trumpet or that sound. That's talking about the universal essence within you. It starts to come outside of you. And that's when the city walls start to fall. Because the people that are in positions of power, they're not utilizing their power correctly. So when that universal law starts to activate from within you, that's when governments start to get overthrown. That's when the people have had enough. They start to do something about it because they know internally that it's not right, because they hear that voice within. They hear that trumpet within. They hear that sound within. And that starts to dominate it, right? But let's take it a step further. Let's see what the tarot has to say. Let's just pull a random card. So I already have the deck shuffled here. Let's just see what card comes up. Let's put it right there. Sadisty. Sadisty is an overflowing of the cups. We see that this is the 10 of cups, and we see that the cups are overflowing. So once again, we see, so these cups are not happy. It's like you have too much. It's just too much. Why? Because you're trying to live a certain life outside of the law, or trying to follow these fuck-faced leaders, right? And they're leading you to hell. And you wonder why your cup is overflowing, why you can't, why you can't find balance. Why? Because fear is the foundation and not love. When fear is the foundation and not love, you have an overflowing. Why? Because you have the universal truth within you, which fills up your cup. But when you try to listen to man and man's ignorance and woman's ignorance, now that cup starts to overflow. Now, there's no balance. Remember, this is Mars going into the degree of Pisces. We know that Pisces is the dreamer. So when Mars starts to amplify those dreams, you start to lose touch with reality. And when you start to lose touch with reality or the law, the real law, that cup starts to overflow and the imbalance starts to be created. Right? We'll just do one more card, an extra card. Just letting y'all know this is right in the moment because this is what we do. This is a 6 of disc, which is success. We know that that 6, if we take it to the tree of life, that's the energy of the sun. The energy of the sun is going into the degree of success in terms of, when we look at the card, you see the center, it's like a sun is emanating its rays. But this particular card is the moon in Taurus. As we see, this is a symbol of the moon. This is a symbol of Taurus. We know that the moon is all about illusion. The moon is all about connecting with the subconscious, being able to uproot those patterns that hold us back. Those patterns of programming need to be uprooted, which is why the Taurus represents that fixed earth. The Taurus is a fixed earth sign. Why? Because it's stubborn. Tauruses are very stubborn. So those subconscious paradigms and those subconscious patterns that have been embedded within us by men and women who know nothing, we see where the only way to achieve success, the number 6, again, which is Tabarif, in the tree of life, it is only through the degree of Tabarif, or the sun, or that source energy. Only through the source energy are you able to achieve success, through the illusionary realm of the subconscious, so that that stubborn earth can begin to grow and produce. So that stubborn earth that wasn't producing anything because we have been caught in illusions, now that stubborn earth begins to multiply. The energy of the source is strong enough to shine through all illusion. And that's what leads to success. Can your source energy shine through the illusionary realm that we live in? Absolutely it can, but you must be in accordance with the law. You must negate the teachings of the man and the woman and come back to the full cup, because now most people's cups are fucking overflowing. And I'll read this Bible verse one last time to drive this point home. Once again, it says, "It shall come to pass when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, and when you hear the sound of the trumpet, that all the people shall shout with a great shout, then the walls of the city will fall down flat." So when that universal mind starts speaking from within, no city walls can uphold the power of the law. All city walls fall to the power of the law. Period. And then you straighten yourself out. Then you realize, damn, my cup has been overflowing. This is why I have not been successful. Why? It's not because I cannot. It's not because I don't deserve it. It's because those subconscious paradigms have to be uprooted first and foremost. I need to release all that negativity, all that fear, all that illusion, all these lies that have been implanted in my mind. I need to release it before I can achieve success. Period. And just to give an extra plus lesson, because we know when you add 1 + 2, you get the number 3. So, what is 3? Understanding, which is your own personal interpretation of knowledge and wisdom. So it's one thing to have accumulated facts. It's another thing to activate those accumulated facts. But it's only through the activation of those accumulated facts are you able to develop your own personal understanding of this wisdom or the law. You have to have your own personal understanding. It's not something that someone else can tell you. You have to prove it to yourself. It must be able to stand against all odds, because if it falls, just like city walls, it must not be rooted in the truth, because the truth never fails. All right? We go to the third letter. What does it say? Let's do it like this. The third letter is C. It represents sea. which is clarity of vision. How do you clear up your vision? Because most people are walking around blind, not literally, but blinded by the ills of the world, blinded by, the pleasures of the world. So their vision has been blurred. They have no clarity of sight. Their sight is what? Overflowing with a bunch of nonsense. Because why? They're chasing after success that was never owed to them because they have been outside of the law, or they think they are outside the law, and they continue to suffer because they have no clarity of understanding. They have no clarity of vision because they are not in tune with the universe. Let's take it a step further. All right? We want to make this very clear. So we'll go back to the 12 jewels. And what does it say? What is the third jewel? Once again, understanding. See that right there? That's personal experience. You need personal experience of the law in order to bring it to life in your reality. This is why this is going beyond the books. You need to have a personal experience with the law, and that's when it becomes real to you. All of those city walls begin to fall when you come to the realization that love will always be stronger than fear. And all so-called leaders will always put in fear into people because they know that they can capitalize off of people being fearful. If you are afraid to get your lights cut off, you're going to continue to pay the bill, right? Well, if you continue to be fearful of, I might get put out, my kids might not eat, this and that. Most people are ran by fears. That's what motivates them. They're not motivated by love. Most people are motivated by fear. Again, they don't want to get put out. They don't want to go hungry. They don't, they don't want their phone to go off. All these illusions that keeps them in this hamster wheel so they can never find success, because success is not predicated. There we go. Success is not predicated upon fear. You can't be fearful and successful, just like they say. You can't love and fear God at the same time. Either you love the law or you fear the law. It can't be both. But again, this is why most people are twisted. Why? Because they're thinking that they can fear and love God and achieve anything in life. Doesn't work that way. However, if you have your clear vision, if you have the keys to unlock all these secrets in these holy books, in these tarot cards, in any book, if you hold the keys to understanding, the keys to clarity, then everything becomes just a matter of you bringing into existence the things that you desire versus you bringing into existence is more of your subconscious fears. This is why we must go into the darkest chambers of the mind and uproot fear. Because if fear is allowed to stay within you, it becomes like a disease, and it makes you physically sick, mentally sick, and spiritually sick. That's what fear does. It is a sickness. It is a disease. Simple as that. So, let's take it a step further. Because again, 1 + 2 is 3. What does the third degree say? If we look at this, it says, my uncle was brought here over 379 years ago by the traitor. Who was the traitor? The traitor is the person that looked just like you and that lied to you. That's who the traitor was, not the oppressor. Because, of course, you're not listening to a fucking oppressor, but you're more likely to listen to somebody that looked like you. So the traitor looks just like you and told you, hey, you can do this over here. They got better shit over here. It's more opportunity here. You listening to this motherfucker because you trust them because, again, they look like you. But then you realize that you were fooled. You got fooled. Not necessarily because they lied to you. Why? Because you were outside of the law. Because if somebody is promising you more of this, more of that, more pleasure, more money, more of this, more of that, you already know, like, yo, that ain't somewhere I need to be. I don't need more. I need less. I need to abstain from the fuck shit. I don't need more, because you get lost in the guilty pleasures of life. Instead of eating one time a day, you start eating 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times a day. You start to get lost in the access or the excess. My uncle was brought here over 379 years ago by the trader. Is that not what happened? It's people that look just like us who are the most dangerous, that feeds you to a system that gives you nothing in return. It gives you nothing in return. But yet and still, let's take it a step forward, though. Because we also have, what else can break down to 3? 21. So what does 21 say? This is what 21 says. Did I hear you say that some of the 17 million do not know that they are righteous Muslims? And again, a Muslim is just someone in accordance with the law. We're not talking about religion. Did I hear you say that some of the 17 million do not know that they are righteous Muslims? Meaning, within, we are all righteous. Within the blueprint of our DNA, we are all righteous. But the only thing that makes us unrighteous is us being subjected to lies, deceit, sorcery, by people that look just like us, but who do not love us. They are fearful of, if I don't, move this or move that, then what's going to happen to me? They are motivated by their own fears. That's what made them become a traitor in the first place. That's why they switched sides. It was their own fear, and it was your fear. So you see, fear creates traitors, and fear also creates slaves, and fear also creates slave masters. All this is fear, 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 fear. Fear creates the slave master, and the traitor. They are all in accordance with each other. So when you think about the slave masters, they're rich, they're wealthy. The slaves are destroyed and poor and distraught. But they don't go anywhere. They don't take the head off of the slave master like, fuck it. Even if that motherfucking kill me, I'm killing him so my people can get free. People don't think like that. Because fear becomes a disease that destroys you from the inside out. So you start to be what? What does it say? Did I hear you say that some of the 17 million do not know that they are righteous Muslims? How the fuck do you not know if you are righteous or connected with the all? Because someone lied to you, someone deceived you, and they put fear in you. And that fear became a disease to the point where you really think that you are nothing more than a fucking slave. You are nothing more than a human being having a human experience and whatever little crumbs that they throw you, and that's all you deserve. When that is a complete fabrication. But if you believe that, that becomes your reality. So success is something you always chase, but you never obtain it. Because you would think, well, shit, if you make $1 million, you're successful. But look at the millionaires. They're still chasing money. So obviously they're not satisfied. Success is subjective. Success is relative. You can be successful with no money if you have a strong enough mind, because you know how to do things other people can't do. See, everybody wants money because money, you can say, opens them up to a reality where they can do whatever they want. But you can do whatever you want without it if you are in tune with the law. If you are in accordance with the law, you can do the same thing that these people with infinite amounts of money can do. You can have the same exact experience, because you are in tune with the love frequency. But when you are in tune with the fear frequency, you're always chasing after something, and you never obtain happiness, because it's subjective and it's relative. So if you continue to engage in the fuck shit, be ignorance of the law, then that's why these things continue to happen. Why there is no God in the sky that punishes people, we are being punished or rewarded by the same force. So you just have to ask yourself, what side are you on?